Well, welcome to our newest psychological health talk. What we're going to talk about today is a program that Amanda and I have been working on over a period of time called the Foundations of Healthy Living. So it's oriented towards people who are ready to make positive changes in their lifestyle in order to expand their healthy lifestyle on a number of different levels. So that might be physically, psychologically, socially, spiritually, but generally taking a more holistic view and looking at their lifestyle and wanting to make changes that will help them to be healthier and will be sustainable over the long term. One of the reasons that we've done this is because we recognize that oftentimes we get a lot of information about what to do. We should manage our stress, we should eat a healthier diet, we should exercise. There's less attention on how to do it. And that is the area that we're experts in, as experts in human behavior. And so we wanted to put together a program that would help people with how to do these things rather than just what to do. And so that's what we're engaged in today.
Yes, and we are going to look at a few different components of what that change would be. So important dimensions of change process would be addressed, and this would include raising awareness, managing stress effectively, increasing healthy activity, learning about the connections between eating, nutrition, and increased health, establishing effective sleep patterns, and engaging in healthy relationships. Those are the pieces that we'll be looking all throughout the program, and how to effectively establish change within those pieces.
So the structure of the program, as we envision it, would last approximately over a 6-month period of time, during which each of these areas would be addressed, and there would be a focus on each one for a month at a time before moving on to the next area. We see these, however, not as disconnected. I just need to get a hold of my eating and then everything will be fine, but to see the interconnection between all of these areas. And as a result, we see that each one builds on the other, each one has an interaction with the other, and so as we're doing this, we're looking at how to help people develop a holistic sense of how to live a healthier life. That's why there will be psychological components to it, there will be physical components to it, there will be relationship components to it as we go through the entire course. So the course will involve a weekly meeting. The initial meeting each month will be a little bit longer. The subsequent meetings will be a little bit shorter, but there will be opportunities for daily exercises so that you're practicing the skills that you're learning and getting familiar with them and getting comfortable with them. And there will also be opportunities to interact with others during this time so that you get a chance to see others that are also trying to make healthy changes and feel like you're supported and able to support others.
Yes. And there are a few different things we'll do within each of those groups, and then the daily practices would be things that you're doing individually by yourself and coming back together and sharing those processes with the other group members.
So let's take a few moments and we're going to talk about each of the areas and why they're important and kind of what we're looking for. So we're going to start off with raising awareness. So it seems as though we should be aware of whether we're healthy or not. But in fact, one of the things that happens in everybody's life is there are a lot of competing tasks that capture our attention. So family events, work responsibilities, leisure opportunities, becoming more aware of how each of our choices in our life have an impact on our overall health becomes an important piece of being able to establish a healthy lifestyle. So if I'm more aware of how the particular food interacts with my body, then I can make better choices about whether or not that's a food that I should consume regularly, or I should be more careful with it. We'll be going through each of those, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a number of different areas in this spot. We'll be looking at how to pay more attention to your body, how to notice what's going on in your mind, be able to see how awareness interacts with the relationships that we have, and how establishing effective relationships helps us to be more aware of ourselves. So we'll be looking at these different components as a way to help us to be able to make effective choices throughout our lives. If I'm not aware that I need to make a choice, of course I make a choice that's not necessarily the healthiest choice. So this becomes an important foundation piece. We move from there to take a look at the effect of stress. Now, there's a lot that gets talked about with stress. One of the things that we'll be doing in this program is distinguishing between the effects of acute stress and the effects of long-term stress. So acute stresses, something terrible, terrible news you just got, and you've got to adjust to it. There are pretty well-established ways to get support and make sure that you take care of yourself and get appropriate opportunities to alleviate that stress. Over the long term, however, there are several foundational things that we need to learn that help us to be able to manage our lives in the long term. So, for example, one of the top predictors for how satisfied a person is in their life is whether that person has a clear sense of what gives them meaning and purpose. What's something that they are committed to that's larger than themselves. The ability to learn and grow and change as new opportunities and new challenges come along is another part of that. There is the development of being able to tell what's in my control and what's not in my control so that I can put my energy where it'll be most effective. These are some of the things we'll be working on in that second month as we're looking at effective stress management.
In the third month, we would be looking at movement and exercise. As you know, and as you're told probably very frequently, movement and exercise is an important piece to a healthy lifestyle. Often it is one, though, that is challenging to integrate. So we would be looking at developing active and healthy habits within movement and exercise after identifying how your body is working and identifying your strengths within that, and to work within the habits within your strengths. We'd be looking at increasing physical conditioning by incorporating what you're already doing and making that part of your physical fitness. So an example here is being more intentional about maybe going up an extra flight of stairs, or being intentional about how you are cleaning and creating movement within that physical component. Also looking at the connections between activity and mental fitness, such as how mental fitness and strength improves stress resilience, as we've talked about in a previous month. The next month, month 4, we'd be looking at the components of nutrition. Another thing you get a lot of information about, which can often be conflictual. Here we would be giving some information that is helpful for maintaining a healthy lifestyle for both the food and your mood. So how those things can be impacted both positively and negatively based on what you are consuming by eating and drinking. We also want to look at how to develop eating habits that sustain that good health. Habits, things that we do on a regular basis, things that become a little bit more natural, are the things that we want to be looking at. Also, some of the information we want to be looking at the correct resources for healthy nutrition in order to reduce confusion.
So our fifth area that we'll be looking at is the area of sleep. Sleep gets less attention when we talk about health and wellness oftentimes. It is actually quite important. Again, there's lots of information. Your medical team may say, you need to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Well, that's great if you live in a bubble and there's nothing that ever disrupts you. But how to get effective sleep? What are the key components that help us to get not just the amount of sleep that we need, but to get enough deep sleep that allows us to really restore ourselves? Now, it is the case that in our daily lives, particularly in Western cultures, people kind of brag about how busy they are, how active they are. It has become kind of a badge of honor that some people will say they don't need as much sleep. All of that creates a kind of an environment in which taking an opportunity to get good sleep and rest is kind of looked down on, and yet it's an essential component of health. And learning how to organize and structure and create the environment that will help us to get that kind of restorative, effective sleep is an important part of the task of creating overall health.
The final month we would be looking at relationships. Not only would we be looking at relationships themselves with family, friends, but also how this interconnects all of those other months that we have discussed. We can be using relationships within trying to build these habits and these skills together. Some of the pieces of relationships that we want to be focusing on within this month are the social dimensions of healthy relationships. We often focus on, what's the dysfunction, what are the things that aren't working well, and although we may want to be aware of those, what we want to do here is identify the dimensions of health in relationships and working towards those things. The roles of family and friends, instead of them kind of being in the background, how we can make sure that they are integrated within our daily lives. Development of compassion for yourself and for others is a very important piece. What we want to do is see relationships as beneficial instead of just this challenging thing that we have to work towards. Although that's accurate, relationships don't often come easy breezy. It is something that is so beneficial to everyone in the picture. So we want to be looking at that as something we want to be putting effort and attention towards.
So as we think about how this whole program will be structured, it'll start with, as I mentioned, the initial meeting each month will be a little bit longer. In those initial meetings, one of the things that will happen is that you'll get an opportunity to do a little bit of a self-assessment called a health possibilities assessment. That allows you to see, do you have the strength and the energy and the ability to recover in key areas of your life. That gives you the opportunity to make sure that you can identify those things in your health journey that are working very well. And that becomes important because when you know what's working well, it's easier to keep doing it. And also those things that you need to pay a little bit more attention to. And that will be followed by, each week you'll get some instruction. We'll give you some of the science behind the recommendations that we're making. It will give you a kind of a way to conceptualize and understand what it is that you'll be doing in each of the modules that we'll be looking at, and how they affect the ways that you live your life. Then there will be an opportunity in those sessions to try out a skill. So there will be a facilitator who can help to guide you, opportunity to interact with some of the other individuals taking the 6-month program, and get an opportunity to build skills. So it's one thing to know about a skill, it's another thing to be able to actually build a skill. If you think about something as simple as learning to ride a bicycle, when children are very young, they can see someone riding a bicycle, they can wish that they could ride a bicycle. They actually have to get on a bicycle and practice a lot in order to be good at it. That's an important part of the skill building element of our program. And each week, you'll be able to build a skill. Then there will be clear exercises that you can engage in throughout the week to practice that skill all week long, to get better at it, to be able to see where it's easy for you, to see where you struggle, so that in the next week you can review that. The facilitator becomes a little bit of a coach, helping you to work through the sticking points and to be more effective at building the skill. Then you have an opportunity to get some more instruction, build more skills, and have more opportunities to practice at the end of the session and throughout the week to come. So that each week builds on the other, each module builds on the other, and you'll get a chance to really track your practice with the repeated effort to take a look at your health possibilities and see where you're growing, see where you're developing, see where you're beginning to be better at taking care of your whole health. That's the process that we'll be engaged in as we go through this.
And we designed this on purpose, as Dr. Weaver was saying, to build on each of those things, but also with the orientation of the group, the orientation of making sure that we're relating how relationships work into this. It's great to see what are the other challenges that other people are having so that you're not feeling like you're alone in that. It's wonderful to see other people's successes so that you can maybe take a piece of what they're doing well and incorporate that in how you're building your skills too. Oftentimes these programs are virtual, which are great, and I know that part of what we are doing is that as well, but it's missing some of that connection. So there's a lot of value in doing this alongside other people.
Right. Yeah, and so if you've been following along on our psychology health talks, the talks that we've been giving over the last several weeks are kind of the setup to help us to be effective in this. So we started off by talking about the basics of behavior change. And learning to establish a healthy identity. And part of the reason this program is going to extend over 6 months is that it takes time to rewrite the stories that we tell about ourselves. If I think of myself as, not very active or struggling with being able to manage my stress, it takes some time to rewrite that story and be able to see what I'm doing that helps me to be successful, but also to get that identity clear so that when I'm faced with, should I take the stairs, or should I take the elevator, or should I just stay on this floor, my identity as a healthy person helps me to make that choice. We also get an opportunity then to develop a plan. So part of the health possibilities assessment is to give you an opportunity to see where you are and what the possibilities are if you live a life that's healthier than the life that you've been living currently, so that you can see where you can improve. There's an opportunity then to identify what expertise you need. So part of the roadmap is having somebody who can say, there's a little bit more needed here, or here's a way to be able to do that and to be able to do it effectively. And finally, then we need to be able to create habits. Habits are very important, as we talked about in that session, because they help us to be able to do many things that become automatic. That when I'm in my busy normal life, the things that are habits are the things that I do without having to put a lot of energy into it, that become repetitive parts of my life. So developing healthy habits become very important. So if you're interested in this program, what we would invite you to do is contact our office. I'm going to give you the phone number. It's 414-329-7000. And our office staff will take your name, get your contact information, and put you on a list so that we can contact you when our next program starts. That will come along with an opportunity to learn about the costs for you, what kind of coverage you might be able to expect from your insurance company, where you would meet, how often you would meet. We'll cover all of that after you've contacted us, gotten your name on the waiting list, and then we'll be back in touch with you. So if you're interested in this, please take the time to call us and let us know. The name of the program is the Foundations of Healthy Living. You might be interested in it. You might also find that there are other people that you know, friends or family members, who also might be interested in it. Certainly invite them to watch this video, but also encourage them to also call and get on our waiting list so that they can get information about the next program as it comes up.
And one small disclaimer, the group is not meant to be designed as group therapy. Obviously, we have components of being integrated with other people, but those strategies would be done so with a therapist, but the group aspect is not group therapy. But we are excited to give you more information if you follow the instructions of Dr. Weaver's instructions that he mentioned before.
So we're looking forward to being able to hear from you and be able to help you to be able to take some really concrete steps to build and establish a really healthy lifestyle for yourself. The Foundations of Healthy Living. The phone number, once again, 414-329-7000.
Thank you.